Explore the wisdom of the revered Narada Bhakti Sutras, a cornerstone of Hindu devotion, with His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda. Experience 45 enlightening lessons on the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Discover the path to pure love for God and transcend the material world. Embrace the teachings that have guided devotees for centuries. Attain spiritual perfection through devotion. Prepare to understand the depths of divine love. Find your path to spiritual enlightenment. Trust in the sutras. Follow these instructions. Be blessed with devotion. And now, His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda.
वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं ओम Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Insight into Bhakti Yoga is part 8. Narada Bhakti Sutras, Sutra 16, 17, 18, 19. That's what I'm going to talk on. The topic is different views relating to Bhakti. What constitutes Bhakti? What is devotion? And sages hold different views. They don't fight, you see, they're different views. If you have been served a plate of beautiful, rather very delicious foods, then people who are enjoying the dishes, they will have different views. Some may like the pakora, some may like something else. Halwa, some they like something else. But they all constitute one feast. Always, I remind you that whenever we talk of any particular yoga, it is an aspect of integral yoga. Integral means you are 4 aspects in your personality are blended constantly: action, emotion, will and reason. So, when you focus on action, it's called karma yoga. For your spiritual evolution, if action is the focus, you are practicing karma yoga. If emotion is the focus, you are practicing bhakti yoga. If will is the important point in your mind, then it's Raja Yoga, meditation. And if you are enhancing your intellect and your understanding, Jnana Yoga. You cannot separate one from the other. However, you may give importance according to your state of evolution, according to your inclination. You may practice bhakti as predominantly as a bhakti yogi, or you may practice Raja Yoga, meditation, or Vedanta. But never in your mind develop the idea that all other yogas are nothing, let me get away from all, and I will just follow devotion to God, and that's. In teaching, it is said that way. Just follow the name of God, all will come. Nothing wrong in it, but you must realize, if someone were to say, just pick up one wave of the ocean, you can't do that. All waves are there, interconnected. Just pick up only one aspect of your personality. Ignore others. You cannot do that. Automatically it is implied. If you are practicing devotion, the feeling aspect becomes so profound that your reasoning becomes very sharp automatically. your actions become more dexterous, more effective, because you are linking yourself to the deeper source within you, God. So all the four aspects of your personality integrate and harmonize. Then your yoga is going to be successful. Otherwise, you have misunderstood. See? Study the Gita. I will see all four yogas well portrayed. Now, we are going to further details. Pujadishu anuraga iti parasharya. Sage Vyasa was son of Sage Parashara. Therefore, the term Parasharya. Sage Vyasa is of the view that supreme devotion consists of having attachment to worship and similar acts. Puja, Archana. Sage Vyasa gave emphasis on worshipping God. You realize that is a predominant characteristic. A general plan of worship is you come to your puja room, you have the deity before you, you burn candle, incense. First thing you do, invoke God, called Avahan. You say Om or chant mantras. The deity becomes alive, figuratively. Now enter into more prayers, recite certain mantras, close your eyes, visualize the deity, develop your different attitudes depending upon your state of mind. And in the practice of puja and upasana, the technical term is you are swatantra. You do not have to look at somebody, what should I do? Use your own imagination. And never think of, will it be wrong if I think of God seated or standing or dancing? Doesn't matter. Whatever attitude suits you, you are absolutely free. So, you have invoked God, you have recited prayers. Now you are using in your mind any attitude, any different ways of looking at God, praying to Him. You enter into meditation, surrender to Him, whatever you are working upon, whichever way you want to meditate, He is the focus. Use your imagination. More magnanimous the imagination, better is your worship. Mental aspect of worship is much more effective and profound. Physical aspect has been also elaborated in the scriptures for the masses. Physical aspect is like in kindergarten. So many rituals are done, but whenever you are doing with many people, those rituals draw the mind of people and they create positive vibrations. They are important. Also personally, when you do that, some few of the rituals like burning candle, incense, whatsoever you think of, they are perfectly fine. But it's the internal process which is more important. So, while you are meditating, imagine God has come. Surprise. He's smiling at you. Now, if you are in a position just to surrender and enjoy the sweetness of His presence, bravo. If you want to converse with God and present certain troubles, do so freely. God is mother of mothers. The Hindu concept of God is very profound. You don't look at God with an awe-inspiring concept. But God is sweetest, most tender, most compassion. If your mother has been tender and compassion, multiply million times. So, after you have concluded your puja, so while you are doing the puja, you are dramatizing, you have darshan of God. Avahan, darshan, and visarjan. Then you conclude your prayer, and from ordinary point of view, you say goodbye to God. However, God continues in your heart. This I gave you just a simple plan of worship. Broader understanding is worship is two types, internal, external. The whole world around you is God's manifestation. If you study the Vibhuti Yoga of Gita, Lord Krishna describes, I am the sun among the luminaries. I am all the most important things that give great impact upon your mind. Wherever, whatever seems to give your mind a great thrill, think of God. The entire world is describing God, as it were, expressing the glory of God in 1,000 ways. The world is Vishnu Sahasranam, countless names of God. Any object you point to, that's an aspect of God. Even the eyes of a kitty cat. This external worship, you can go on developing that type of feeling, and the sky is the limit. Internal, consider all you have, your mind, body, senses, your likes and dislikes, all are ingredients for internal worship. And you bring that type of attitude, that type of subtle stream of feeling, that whatever you do is a form of divine worship. Even personal needs that you attend upon, all is a form of divine worship. Your life is continuous stream of aradhana, worship. Therefore, Radha term evolved in the scriptures. Radha is that personality embodiment of pouring down her life as stream of worship, flowing on to ocean of God. Now, to give you summarily the beauty of other views, Katha Dishi Vati Garga. Garga, sage Garga, is of the opinion that devotion consists in stories of the divine self, Katha, talking about God, God's stories from the Puranas. They are all symbolic, allegorical. The glories and the praises of God and His incarnations that constitute an entertaining process. Great sages, enlightened personalities, saintly personalities, they create a program, a plan, 7 days dedicated to bringing out the stories of Bhagavat Puran Krishnas or Rama or Shiva. People gather and they listen. All do not assimilate exactly in the same way, but no one goes empty. On the other hand, a philosophical talk given to people, some will assimilate and may assimilate to the full to the brim, but many may go dry. You start saying the world is Maya. The very fact that you realize everything in this world is highly intelligently planned. Therefore, conclusion, God is all intelligent. But now, if He is all intelligent, why should He create a world that gives so much trouble to so many people? Comes contradiction. Since God is all wisdom, the world, He could not create a world that is a reality. The entire world is illusion, Maya. Now, when we start teaching that, if you have not properly followed Vedanta, many will go dry. What will I do now? The whole world is, He didn't create it. So, Katha, I'll give some interesting points. Skanda Purana dramatizes. There are 4 types of listeners who are good category, and 4 types of listeners who are in negative category. It's given in an interesting way. Listeners who come in the category of Chataka bird, a special type of bird that will drink during a special season, what called Swati Nakshatra. Only a special type of raindrop that Chataka drinks. Don't go into exact botanical or biological study. The idea is those aspirants who have such subtle sensitivity that they are listening to the teachings and they grab what is nectarine, the drops of nectar that come through the stories, and they won't miss it. And they are always waiting for it. Another one is Hansa type. Hansa is swan. Swan has that special characteristic of separating water from milk and symbolizes viveka, the discriminative intellect. So in other words, you go into listening to spiritual talks, different stories, but you do not follow everything that you listen to, because there are so many things added along with the teaching. You must separate. Take the milk, don't get diluted with it. Separate the watery aspect. Another one is called Tota, it's parrot type. When you hear good things, try to remember it. And even though you have not assimilated it, try to go on saying like the parrot. The soul is eternal, immortal. You don't completely understand it, but start going and saying it. Ram, 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 no matter what happens. 4th one is Matsya type. Matsya is fish. You have developed such wondrous feelings within yourself that when you begin to listen, you have gone deep made a dive into the surging waters of wondrous feelings that swirl and go up and down and go undercurrent and at tangents, and a fish enjoys it. You swim in a sport in divine sentiments. That becomes the highlight of devotion. You are not living in a world created by fools, you see, dulwits. It's the world of divine plan. And every moment God's presence is there. Without His presence, your mind cannot operate. Your intellect cannot exercise its rationality. Nothing can happen. So no matter from ego's point of view, how miserable you may feel, the divine presence remains intact. Sun shines on, no matter how the clouds may create illusions about the sun. Therefore, if you push the ego away, you can think of yourself bouncing into the ocean of surging divine sentiments, ocean of love. Become a fish. That was elaborated in Matsyavatar. Fish that outgrows the receptacle where it is put. Put the fish into a bucket, by tomorrow it is beyond the bucket. Put the fish into a little pond and it is outgrown the pond. Put it into a river and outgrown the river. And so forth. That's dramatized. Lord Vishnu incarnated as fish. But we must realize all spiritual attainments are incarnations of God. That's how God is incarnating within you, and your soul is essentially divine. Now, adopt these styles, Chataka style, waiting for the right drop to drop into your tongue. Hansa style, ever ready, not to be distracted. Suppose in this story come certain things that are not very rational. Foxes start talking and monkeys start talking. It's a fairy tale. No, should be Hansa type. You don't be distracted by those, but go after what you are receiving. And be Tota type. Even though you have sensitivity, you know this statement is wonderful. You have not grasped it completely. But then keep it on like the parrot. Understanding will come by and by. Maintain certain quotations in your mind and you go on repeating. Or, most ideally, become the fish. Jump into the universal presence, ocean-like presence of God, and feel His presence internally and externally. But there are 4 types that you should avoid. Vrik, the Sanskrit word for wolf. Wolves are well known. They are never satisfied. They eat a lot, but say wolf stomach. It's never sufficient. And now and then they howl. What we are referring to is people who come to certain satsang with preconceived mind, and they have in their mind already put together certain ideas. If someone were to say this, it would mean someone is brainwashing you. So I won't be brainwashed. I've already planned. So when you have heard the teachings, in the end you come up very dissatisfied. disturbed. Your intellect has been insulted. Brick type. Even if you take it English, brick is fine. Another type is Vuranda type. This is a bird that is ostentatious. Think like a peacock. You start dancing. When some good thing comes, sometimes in satsangs happens, people hear something and they begin to shout with great joy. People have courtesy towards them. But then everybody is disturbed. Another is Vrishabha type. Bull. Bull-headed. Which implies scriptural learning or thinking of listening to all that creates a sense of big load. And also it implies that as anyone who stores all teachings, stores that in an intellectual way, like information, volumes of information enters the mind, but nothing to be practiced. Tons and tons of theory, but not even an ounce of practice. That pull. And that is Ustra type. Ustra is camel. Nothing against animals, you see. It's figurative. Because no matter how much you care for a camel, a hump remains prominent on its back. So no matter how you teach the aspirant, his ego remains always prominent. So that all relates to Katha, listening to teachings presented by sages and saints. It's a wonderful way of entertaining your mind, entering into bhava samadhi, your feeling becomes magnanimous. When you think of God in an abstract way, you have very little food to give to your mind. Only when your intellect is very clear, you can go into it. But a major portion of your mind is leaning towards feelings, sentiments. So if you have certain materials of religion that enters your mind, inspires you, awakens your wonderful imagination, and all that you can see in the life of Jesus. Certain areas, how inspiring it can be if you can enter into that with feeling. Rama, Krishna, many sages and saints, and stories are planned that way to create in your heart special feelings. Rama is born, the childhood state, the joy, the child, mothers like Rama and his brothers. At one time, Rama opens his mouth, Mother Kaushalya looks into it. All three worlds are there right in his mouth. One who understands well, then never asks, how can that be possible? The language of feeling. Your sentiments pass on like shallow waters. But when you have divine sentiment, it beckons your mind to the ocean of divine presence. The same little flower you see, one of the beautiful flowers. Jesus saw it, said, behold the lilies of the field. How do they blossom? And in that ecstasy, he looked down upon Solomon himself, who was the greatest of his time. Solomon, with all his grandeur, was not arrayed like anyone. See how a high level of sentiment, it catches a glow of divine presence. All spiritual experiences transcend your normal nervous system. transcend your brain, and yet puts you in touch with the transcendental presence of God. If you think of your personality, brain, nervous system, body, it's just like a bulb. The light is shining through the bulb, but the light doesn't know all about itself. It is linked to an immense resource. When you develop devotional movement, or when you succeed in any yoga, basically in integral yoga, you begin to catch that subtle link with the Absolute, with God within you. Sage Shandilya, his Bhakti Sutras is very popular Bhakti Sutra, Shandilya Bhakti Sutras. Atmarati avirodhe neti, Shandilya. Shandilya emphasizes Atmarati, delighting in the self, directing your mind to the understanding, who am I? What is the self in me? And this is very close to Shankaracharya's definition of bhakti. Moksha karana samagryam bhaktireva gariyasi swaswarup anusandhanam bhaktir iti abhidiyate. Among various sources of or methods of attaining bhakti, rather for attaining liberation, bhakti is the greatest. And what is that bhakti? Swaswarup anusandhanam. Constant quest for recognizing who am I. And Vedanta gives you very simple argument, logic. All things are loved for the sake of self. Take yourself away, nothing matters. First thing, most important in you is yourself. Then everything else comes to exist. Now, I'll just summarize the vast study. We speak of self. See, first it comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, when Maitreyi, wife of Yajnavalkya, requests Yajnavalkya to give her spiritual teaching. Yajnavalkya says to Maitreyi, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For the sake of the self, all becomes dear. And then he began to explain what that self is. But whether you are advanced or you are just working in an ordinary level, the truth is always, whatever you think the self to be, that self is the center and source of your love. We speak of self three ways. Absolute self, that can be realized through intuitive intellect. That is your ultimate goal. And you are constantly being led in this divine plan to discover yourself. You will not rest until you attain knowledge, realization of who am I. Just like in a dream, you go on wandering in your dream and there is no rest until you wake up. Which is again a relative way of saying. So, absolute self, that is the source of boundless love. Now, due to ignorance, one cannot turn towards the absolute self, but one turns to figurative self. Or firstly, one turns to false self. Mithya Atman. False self, what does that mean? Your identity with the three bodies, five sheaths. Three bodies refer to physical, subtle, causal. Five sheaths are elaboration of the same three. Physical, the subtle body has three layers: vital, mental, intellectual. And then there is unconscious, deeper level. You are constantly identified with these. When you are awake, you think of yourself. It relates to your body. If you want to attend a party, you can't send your mind there. You dress up, you go to the party, people say, here he has come. But now if you are hungry and thirsty, you are not identified with the physical body. You are identified with the vital body. Someone gives you wonderful drink, ice cream or whatever. At that time, no matter how fashionable you are, you start digging out your tongue. Because you are not identified with the physical body. You are the vital one. But then, there are times when your mind is so eagerly involved, either in a positive way or in a negative way, awaiting for something. It doesn't matter. You have all the ice creams before you. You have all the physical comforts around you. But it's the mind. You are mind. If you go further up, become identified with the intellect. Even though things appear so wonderful, you are identified with the intellect. Look at things in the light of what intellect says. And doesn't matter, all your previous concepts of self are transcended. And if you enter into deep sleep, intellect and ego move away. You are identified with the causal body, deep unconscious. It's a veil of ignorance. And when you wake up, that identity with the causal body moves away. So you are constantly moving in false identifications. The body is not you. Therefore, saying I am body is a false identity. This false self, the body, mind, intellect, ego, the unconscious. Mithyatman, false Atman. However, if that is what you think the self is, that becomes the source of all your happiness. And then there is Gauna Atman, figurative self, children, relatives who are very close to you. You extend your concept of self, they are me. But for some reason, change occurs in relationships, then things are different. One who has been very close to you as a part of your personality, at the what they call the very piece of one's heart, now becomes a thorn in the heart. Now, then there are objects of the world. If objects are helpful to your concept of self, you like those objects. You become attached to them, you love those objects. Say, for example, your child is yourself. Secondary self. If someone helps your child, you like the person. Someone hurts your child, you don't like that person. So the entire world now comes under likes and dislikes on the basis of your concept of self. If objects and personalities are neither give you pleasure nor pain, you look at them with indifference. So, vast study, how the self, concept of self, is ruling all your mental process. Whether you are dealing with people, dealing with the world around you, explore what that self is. That's the key to the boundless joy, because even the false concept of that self makes you thrill. What would happen if we had the real one? That is the theme of Shandilya. It's pure Vedanta. There's no contradiction with bhakti, with jnana, wisdom. Whether you know it by intellect or know it by heart, both are two aspects of the same experience. And Narada has his own view. Narada sums up all. He says, Naradastu tadarpita khilacharata tad vismarane param vyakulateti. Narada emphasizes complete surrender, absolute surrender. You must realize absolute surrender is not simple. In the Gita, Arjuna says to Krishna, "O Krishna, I have taken surrender. I have come, I seek your refuge. I have surrendered myself to you." Krishna is about to say bravo, but he said, "But I am not going to fight." That's not real surrender, conditional surrender. But the entire Gita is taught, and in the end he says, "I have surrendered to you and will do whatever you say." So the difference between the first and the last is the whole teachings of the Gita. And that's what Narada says. That is your goal. And if you become distracted from this goal, it should give you a pinch. It should give you pain, discomfort. Tulsi Ramayana says, "Kaha Hanuman vipati prabhu soi, jab tav sumiran bhajan na hui." Hanuman says to Rama, "O Lord, that's the only time there is misery in life, when one cannot turn one's mind to God and remember Him. Am I aware of divine presence? Ask yourself. Am I working for it? If it is not, then you have a big headache. Find a doctor." Irrespective of the fact you have all the wealth, things are going well and you are progressing and all that. But if you don't have that hunger for God, Godward movement, a feeling to come in touch with God, if the object of infinite love is ignored by you, what's the type of progress are you enjoying? And may God bless you. Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.